Well, good afternoon and welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday Live yet again. It's Wednesday afternoon, it's 4 o'clock. So here we are. It's time for some wellbeing tips. And I hope you're enjoying the beautiful day. You can see I'm having a fan on me. It's so warm. It's lovely. So that's certainly helping my wellbeing. But anyway, who am I? What are we doing here? My name is Frederica Roberts. I'm the founder and managing director of Educate to Flourish, a community interest company that I set up last year to support children's flourishing. That's the simplest way to explain what we do. We do that in a number of ways, through direct training of teachers and parents, and also, of course, of children themselves of all ages. And we also can and do carry out and support the carrying out of research, particularly action research carried out by teachers in school themselves. And we can train and support so that you can do that if you're working in a school. So if you do want to know a bit more, of course, have a look at educatetoflourish.org. But otherwise, I'm here to just give you a few tips on a Wednesday afternoon at the moment. And sorry, it's educatetoflourish.org.uk. You can see that streaming there at the bottom of the screen. So even if I don't know my own website, you can see it there. And of course, you can tweet about this particular Wednesday event every Wednesday at hashtag Wellbeing Wednesday Live or hashtag WBWed Live if you don't have enough characters. So that's who Educate to Flourish are, and I'll tell you a little bit more about who I am briefly and my background. But before I do, I just want to do what we usually do on put my teeth back in, what we usually do on Wellbeing Wednesday Live, and that's to give you a moment to check in with your emotions. So we're going to take the emotional temperature of the room. So what I mean by the emotional temperature, here we go. So what I mean by that is we're going to give you an opportunity to share how you're feeling right now. So there's a really simple way for you to do that. You can go to polev.com. That's polev.com, and you can either / that with Frederica Rob 992, or if you just go to polev.com, it will then give you the option of typing in the account or the username, which is Frederica Rob 992. So if you go to that, you can type in single words to describe how you feel, or you can put emojis in as well. And I've given you some examples there. So while you do that, I'll just talk you through a little bit what my words are. So I'm feeling hot, definitely. It's very, very warm here today, and I'm loving it. I do love the sun, and I love warm weather and blue skies. So I'm feeling very hot, and hence the emoji with the sunglasses there, because that's how I spent my lunchtime today, eating in the sun, playing cards with my husband and my youngest daughter, who's staying with us at the moment. So that's why I'm feeling particularly lucky and grateful, because at the moment there's so much to worry about, hence I'm feeling a bit worried. But particularly with the relaxing of lockdown, I'll be honest, I'm feeling quite concerned about that, but I'm not going to get political on here. I'm just going to say, honestly, that's where my emotions are. I'm feeling a little bit worried, or a lot worried, but I'm feeling very lucky and very grateful that we here in our home are well, that my eldest daughter, who's living in Wales and working there, is well at the moment, and that all of my friends and family are doing really well. Even those who have had coronavirus have done very, very well with it, and even those who've struggled for a little while haven't needed intensive care or anything like that. So I'm feeling very lucky in that respect for my friends and my family and my loved ones. But yes, and I'm feeling very grateful. So those are my emotions at the moment. If you do want to put your emotions down and measure your emotional temperature, then do pop that on there at polev.com / Frederica Rob 992, and I'll look forward to seeing how you are feeling. So let's just come off that shared screen for a moment and back to you. So I said I was going to tell you a little bit about my background as well, because of course I've shared who Educate to Flourish are, but you might want to know a little bit more about who I am to talk to you about well-being. So my background specifically is that I used to be a teacher. I was a teacher for a couple of years part-time, and it nearly broke me, to be honest. I was really stressed. My well-being was not in the right place. And I could have really done with Adele Bates, who was here last week with us as a guest. Was it last week or the week before? A couple of weeks ago, I think. Who she talks about behavior management and really ties that into well-being. And if I'd known a lot of what she teaches and talks about, then I would have probably been a lot better off while I was a teacher, but I didn't. So I left teaching. I did a number of other things, including running a food business, and spent about 12 years in recruitment, including as a business owner. And eventually left all of that behind and came into well-being through my own personal experiences. And I've now got a master's in applied positive psychology. I'm doing a doctorate in education, where I'm further doing research into, or I'm going to be, once I start the research, doing research into the model of whole school positive education that I developed as part of my master's. And I've written 3 books to date. So I wrote Recipe for Happiness back in 2013. And I co-wrote with Elizabeth Wright a character toolkit for teachers, which now also has an amazing set of character strengths cards to go with it for primary school children, which came out last week. And then very excitingly, last week, For Flourishing's Sake came out, which is my book aimed at school leaders on bringing in whole school positive education, with lots and lots of examples from schools all over the world with brilliant educators. And we had a launch event last week, because the Kindle book came out on Thursday last week, and they're all available on the Happiness Speaker YouTube channel and the Happiness Speaker Facebook page. So you can watch those back, and also at forflourishingsake.com. If you search for Flourishing Sake book launch, you'll find the page there with all the replays. But it's also coming out as a paperback in August, so watch this space. So that's who I am. And here's how you can get in touch with me, Frederica R at on Twitter, or EduFlourish on Twitter for the Educate to Flourish Twitter account. And you can email me at fred@educatetoflourish.org.uk. So I'll leave that screen up as I talk to you. And what we're talking about today is a topic that I really love. It's a big, big element of positive psychology. And we're going to be talking about flourishing. Now, what is flourishing? Well, I'm going to quote from an article. Now, this article I've linked to in the description of this video, so you don't have to worry about searching for it. If you just go to the description right here on YouTube, and you'll find the link to this article. But it's an article by Dr. Davies in Psychology Today, and he says that savoring just means that we attempt to fully feel, enjoy, and extend our positive experiences, and that it's a great way to develop a long-lasting stream of positive thoughts and emotions. So that's pretty good, isn't it? If you're thinking about sort of really enjoying those positive emotions and experiences, but not just enjoying them in the moment, but actually giving yourself more time to enjoy them, and then obviously boosting your positive thoughts and emotions. And why is that important? Well, we've talked before in previous episodes about the importance of positive emotions, and the research and the theory by Barbara Fredrickson on the broaden and build theory of positive emotions, and all of those benefits of experiencing more positive than negative emotions at any given day. So positive emotions being the emotions that make us feel good. So all emotions are valid, remember, but some emotions make us feel great, others not so much. So this is about experiencing more of those emotions that make us feel good, and savoring is a great way of doing that. Some more reasons why savoring is really important, and the research about this, I've put some references again into the video description at the bottom. So if you open up the description to this video, whether you're watching this on a computer or on your phone, you can click to expand and see the description on your phone as well, and all the references are there. So some of the reasons why it's really important to savor. So savoring and enjoying positive emotions when you have positive experience improves well-being. So that's why we're talking about this on Wellbeing Wednesday Live, because it's an activity that improves well-being. Savoring can actually protect against depression. I found that really interesting when I read the research about this. And again, the research references are all in the description of the video. So it can protect against depression, and even what they talk about in the research is basically that it moderates the relationship between depression and negative experiences. So what that really means in reality is, if you look at the relationship between having a negative experience and experiencing depression or depressive symptoms, if savoring acts as a moderator, that effectively means that you're less likely to experience depression as a result of experiencing negative experiences. So that's a really important protective factor that we can bring into our lives very simply. And then some really interesting research as well. Again, the references in the description of the video, that as we get older in life, so in our later years, those of us who are better able to savor our experiences, our positive experiences, are more likely to be happier and satisfied with life and less likely to be depressed. So again, some protective factors there for later life. If we practice as we go through life the ability to savor experiences, then we're giving ourselves a better chance of not experiencing depression later on in life, and also of enjoying life more later on in life. So that's always a good thing. It's kind of like putting something into the bank for the future, isn't it? Like a savings account of well-being for the future. That's how I like to look at it, as well as obviously the benefits now. So how do we do this? How do we savor? Well, there's lots of ways that we can do this, and really it's a form of mindfulness. But I'd like you to practice one really simple savoring activity as a starting point today. You can do this tonight when you have your dinner, or you can do this at any point in the next few days as you prepare to have a meal. And practice this maybe with the children that you're working with as well, or perhaps your own children, because let's face it, we're all guilty of this, and I'm the first one who does this. I'll hold my hand up to that, of eating really in the opposite way to mindfulness. We might be eating while watching the TV. We might be thinking about other things, even if we're not actually doing anything else, but we might just be thinking about other things. We might be talking to other people, which of course I love eating socially. It's a fantastic thing to do. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying that once every now and again, it might be nice to just eat really mindfully on your own, or you could do this as a family activity and eat mindfully together and really savor the food. We quite often pick up our phone, and we might be on our phone as we eat and just catching up with social media. So lots and lots of things that we're doing rather than focusing on the food we're eating. So what I would recommend that you try as a savouring activity is every now and again, and perhaps at your next meal, either try something that you've never eaten before. That's a really exciting way to do a savouring activity, or do it with just a regular meal and maybe something that you eat really often, and really try and focus on discovering something new about it. So either a new food or something you know really well, but you might want to really focus on how it feels, how it tastes. So as you do, set some time aside and really take a quiet moment to be able to enjoy and savor that food. And before you even start eating, observe that food. What does it look like? Have you noticed something different about what it looks like? Or if it's something you've not eaten before, are you noticing something really interesting about it? If it's a hot food, is there steam rising off it? What does the steam look like? Can you see the clouds of steam? And does it move and dance, for example, above the plate? What does it smell like? Does it make your mouth water? Does it make you want to eat it? Does it look appetizing? Is it pretty on the plate? How have you arranged it? You can maybe actually give some special attention to that as you put it on your plate before you even get to the savouring activity, so that it helps you savour more. Then, as you take your first mouthful, perhaps even close your eyes and really feel the texture of that food. Feel the temperature of that food. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it crunchy? Is it soft? What does it feel like in your mouth? Move it around your mouth. It sounds a bit gross, but that's why it might be a good idea to do this on your own. But move it around your mouth a little bit. If you bite on it, what does it texture like? What does it sound like? Really notice all of these things. Notice how perhaps the flavors develop as you keep it in your mouth a bit longer than you're used to doing. Do you discover different elements to the flavors? Do they change as the food is in your mouth for longer? Do the textures change? Perhaps it was crunchy and now it's no longer crunchy. Maybe now it's soft. Does the temperature change? Maybe it was cold and now it's getting warmer as you're keeping it in your mouth. Just really experience that. And as you swallow, again, focus on what it feels like. Have you got a really big mouthful? Was it too much? Or is it so little that you can barely notice? And do this with each mouthful, and do this for a few minutes. And between each mouthful, again, look at the food. Observe what it looks like. Observe how it might change in terms of temperature. Maybe the plate no longer looks as appealing as you're gradually eating from it. So just take a few moments. It really doesn't take very long to do this activity. You can just take a few moments. You don't have to savor the entire meal in this way, but just a few mouthfuls. And as you've practiced this with food, start thinking about what other things you can practice savoring on throughout your day, whether it's reading a book or going for a walk and enjoying the sights, or even as you're having a conversation with someone, really immersing yourself in that moment and almost taking a step outside of yourself, just not for too long, because you do want to give the other person your focus, but just for a moment to enjoy that moment. I remember a few years ago, we have a New Year's Eve party every 2 years here at home. Every 2 years we go back to Luxembourg, where I grew up, and we spend time with my family. But when we're here in the UK, we have a New Year's Eve party with our friends. And I remember at one of those parties, we were in our conservatory with disco lights going and music going, and my best friend Claire was here, and she's been my best friend since our days at university, and we used to dance quite a lot together at university, and we were in our conservatory dancing to some of the music that we used to dance to as students. And there was just this moment that felt almost surreal, where I did kind of take a step back and really savor, because I suddenly realized that I really wanted to commit this moment to memory. That here I was with my best friend dancing to 90s music, just like when we were at uni together. And we were just having a great time. We both had big grins on our faces, and there was just this immense love. And what made it even better is that she had her husband and children there. I had my husband and children there. And of course, we had other friends here as well. And that moment was just so special. And I just took a moment to just step away from actually just living it, and just stepped away and observed it almost, and savored it, and committed it to memory, and extended that enjoyment, so that even now, years later, I can still think back to that moment and enjoy it. And that's what savoring can do for you. So it's a really great well-being activity, and I would really urge you to try it, maybe with food, maybe with something else. One of the things we talked about in week 2 of Wellbeing Wednesday Live was mindful photography, and that's a way of savoring the sights that you see and extending that enjoyment as well by taking photographs of it. And then you can savor it again, savor the things that you see when you look back at those photographs as well. So that's another way that you can do it. So as always, do let me know what you think. Once you've tried this, you can let me know. You've got the contact details there on screen. So tweet me at Frederica R or at EduFlourish. You can email me at fred@educate2flourish.org.uk. Or you can simply use the hashtags Wellbeing Wednesday Live or WB Wed Live. I'll say that again, Wellbeing Wednesday Live or WB Wed Live. Again, they're scrolling in front of you right now on the bottom of the screen. So those are the hashtags to use, and I keep an eye out for those as well. So I just want to share one more resource with you that you might find useful. I think I've shared this before, but it's been a few weeks since I've shared it, so I just wanted to make you aware of this again. This resource is one that I created at the beginning of lockdown, but it's still a very relevant resource. It's for Key Stage 2 children, for so sort of 8 to 11-year-olds, regardless where you are in the world. And it's basically an activity. Here you go, 7 well-being activities for 7 days. And it also has with it the teacher resources. I'm trying to show you those now, but I can't actually change the screen for some reason. So it has some teacher resources to go with it. Here you go. So it has a teacher's guide that you can look at as well. And all of that is available to download for free from tes.com. So it's the resources library at TES. You can download that and it's absolutely free. So just go and have a look for 7 wellbeing activities for 7 days at tes.com. And that's my free resource for you right now today. So I'll be back next week with Wellbeing Wednesday Live at 4 o'clock, again, right here on YouTube, on the Educate to Flourish YouTube channel. And next week, I have a very special guest again, and it's the wonderful Kelly Hannigan, who is a wellbeing consultant in education. She has a wealth of experience. She has done some amazing award-winning work in schools to actually improve wellbeing at a whole school level. And she's doing some fantastic work right now as schools are going through such a difficult time. So don't miss it. Join us next week at 4 o'clock on Wellbeing Wednesday Live with Kelly Hannigan. And I'll be sharing, of course, details of that on social media so you don't miss it as well. But also I wanted to let you know, so today has been the 11th week, I think, of Wellbeing Wednesday Live. And next week is going to be there for week 12. So I've been going for 3 months doing this every Wednesday. And unfortunately, next week will be the last one for a while at least. I'm not putting it away forever, but it's not going to be a weekly occurrence anymore, simply because I need to be doing a lot of work as well as we go into summer to really hopefully get some funding to bring wellbeing activities and programs into schools. And also not all of it is going to be funded, but to talk to school leaders and bring my work to children through Educate to Flourish so that I can help as many children as possible directly and indirectly through my work with their teachers. So in order to do that, I need to dedicate some time to do that. And the first thing is really a funding application I'm working on at the moment and everything associated with that, and running the community interest company so that it can do the work it needs to do. And so unfortunately, with me also having a part-time job for a great mental health charity, which is of course not unfortunate, I love the work that I'm doing, but what it does mean is that I'm having to be really careful with my time. And I wouldn't be authentic if I was talking about well-being and I wasn't really looking at how I'm spending my time and whether it's affecting my well-being. And at the moment, I'm just pulled in lots of different directions. So for the time being, I'm going to pause Wellbeing Wednesday Live after next week's episode with Kelly Hannigan. But I will bring back a few special episodes from time to time when there's a particular topic that's relevant, or if I have a particular guest that I really want to bring to you. So do still get in touch if you have suggestions for future topics, if you have questions you'd like me to address in future episodes, or if you would like to be a guest, if you have expertise as a parent or teacher or educator in some other way that contributes to well-being and flourishing in schools and outside of schools for children and the adults in education communities, then please do get in touch. So you can contact me on Twitter at Frederica R, at EduFlourish, and you can email me at fred@eduflourish.org.uk. That's it from me. It's been a short one today. Do get out in the sunshine if you can. Go out for a walk. I've spent lunchtime outside. I'm going to go for a walk now while it's still lovely and hot, because I think here in the UK, certainly where I am in Yorkshire, the weather is going to spoil again for the weekend. So I want to make the best of today. And that's all about well-being and savouring as well. I'm going to savour the beautiful weather today. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you for being with me today, whether it was live or whether you're watching a replay of this. Thank you so much. And I look forward to being back with you next Wednesday, 4 o'clock, with Kelly Hannigan as our very special guest. Bye for now.